this on Saturday, right before Night of Champions. Night of Champions is today at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. So I need to record this as quickly as possible because today we are doing Night of Champions predictions. Predictions. Like I said, it is in Riyadh, so it is starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And we are just going to get right into it. There is not a ton of time for me to upload this video. The first match is Trick Williams versus Ricky Saints for the United States Championship a week before the 4th of July 250 anniversary. Also, just quick note, I don't know the actual order. This was just the order on the card that I had found. So I don't know if it actually will be the first match, but I put it in an order that I think makes sense. But yeah, so Trick Williams versus Ricky Saints. Let me bring this up here. Yeah, apologies, I have notes right here, so if I'm looking down, that is what I'm looking at. And one more disclaimer before we talk about this match. I have not had the chance to watch yesterday's SmackDown. I was not free last night, and I don't have enough time to watch the 3-hour show before making this video, so apologies. I would look up, a Cliff Notes, but I would like to watch it for myself. But anyway. So, even without yesterday's SmackDown, there has not been a lot of build to this specific match. There's been a lot of build of the United States Championship scene in general, because you had you had Ricky and Mello facing off every week, it felt like, for 3 weeks, a month, for the chance to fight Trick. But there has not been a lot of interaction between Trick and Ricky themselves. So that being said, not much to go off of build between these two guys, but I have my official prediction being Trick Williams going over on Ricky Saints and retaining his U.S. title. I just think it's a little bit too early for Trick to lose to someone like Saints, like someone new. He's relatively new himself from what I understand. And he's only held this title since Mania, so I just don't think he's going to drop it to Saints. It just doesn't really make a ton of sense to me, so I'm going with Trick in that one. The next match is going to be Tiffy Time Stratton against Jade Cargill for the Women's United States Championship. And this match actually does have some build. A lot of it is just built in because Jade won the undisputed title off of Tiffany in the past, but they have kind of gone back and forth on SmackDown in the last couple weeks. And then there's also the build of the side story of Tiffany and Chelsea Green. Obviously, Jade has BFAB, and Michin on her side, and Tiffany was kind of going it alone. But then Chelsea Green had been trying to cozy up to Tiffany. I didn't really like this when it was first happening because Chelsea Green blamed Tiffany for injuring her ankle in the Elimination Chamber triple threat match. So it didn't really make a ton of sense to me why after the injury she was trying to be friends with Tiffany. But we're here now, so that's okay. Because I do like Chelsea Green as a character. So, if that's what it takes to get Chelsea Green to a story of some kind, sure. But yeah, so Tiffany was kind of like a will they, won't they? You know, Tiffany was kind of being rude to Chelsea at first, and then they were friendly sometimes, and then it would go back to not being friends. So, you know, I do still think that if BFAB and Michin do something, get up to some sort of interference or shenanigans, that Chelsea will come out to help Tiffany. I'm sorry, I was looking over to the right because I hear some noise and I was just looking to see if the mic was picking it up, but I don't actually think you guys can hear it, so that is good. But yeah, so I do think that Chelsea Green will come out, if not even just come out with Tiffany from the beginning, like how BFAB and Michin are gonna, you know, enter with Jade, I would imagine. But yeah, so on to what I think the match itself is going to be. This match, it's kind of hard for me to predict because I don't want Tiffany to get buried, you know? I don't want Tiffany to go from having the the undisputed title, to losing that to Jade, then getting the US title, and then losing that to Jade, and just going all the way down the card. I don't think Tiffany really needs that to happen. But at the same time, they are booking Jade very strong right now, and Jade has numbers on her side. Even with Chelsea Green, Jade has 2 henchmen, and Tiffany would only have Chelsea, so even with that, she still has numbers, and she's being booked very strong recently. And then on the Jade side, you just lost a main event level match against Rhea twice, and then you go down a division, and then you lose in the mid-card division for the mid-card title. That would also be like a really bad look for Jade as well. So it's kind of a tough spot either way. But I have my pick as Tiffany retaining over Jade. I'm kind of going more with what I want than what I think. You know, I'm going with heart over head for this pick. But if we are going to put some booking logic behind Tiffany going over, it has been a short reign, and you know, I'm not even sure how many times she's defended this title. It has to be not many, so I don't know if she should lose it already. And also, we know how Hunter Triple H likes to do his 50-50 booking, and Tiffany has lost to Jade, so maybe she'll go over it this time. He did it with Io and Raquel. Raquel gets the win on Raw, Io gets the win, or I guess they were both on Raw, but Raquel gets the win on the earlier Raw at MSG, and then Io goes over for the Queen of the Ring, so I feel like it could be something like that. And then maybe they do some sort of, I don't want to say character change for Jade, because I think that her character fits her, and I don't think there's any real problem with her character. If she has a problem, it's just with her promo, but that's not really her character, that's more just like her word choice. But maybe she'll get rid of BFAB and Michin or something like that, I don't know. But I think that Tiffany is going to win this match. Okay, so moving on to the next match is Seth Rollins versus Baron Breaker in a steel cage match. This one is a long time story. This is a storyline ending type of match. Obviously, you have Seth, who created the Vision, and then he gets turned on by Braun. And then, ever since he came back from injury, his stated mission was to destroy the Vision. Sorry, my stomach growled. I'm not sure if you heard that, but his goal has been to destroy the Vision. And even Seth himself on Raw has stated in the interview segment with Corey Graves that this is basically, you know, in his own words, saying that this is going to be the end of the feud. This is going to be the end of Seth versus the Vision. that's what the fans want. I think the fans are kind of ready for Seth to move on from this. I think people want to see Seth versus Roman. People want to see Seth versus Roman. And the division has just been decimated by injuries. Obviously, it started with Bronson Reed and then Logan Paul. And Braun himself has been injured, just not as severely. And Seth obviously was in the division and got injured as well. Started this whole thing. And I also think, it's pretty clear that the steel cage is going to prevent a lot of Vision shenanigans from going down. It's not impossible for there to be interference in a steel cage match. We've seen it before, but it's much less likely. So, I think my prediction is going to be Seth Rollins winning over Braun in this match. For all the reasons that I listed before of Seth moving on to potentially challenge Roman, and then the Vision just kind of losing this momentum and having all these injuries. Maybe this will be a breakup for the Vision. And yeah, the steel cage kind of stopping the Vision from helping out Braun. I do really like Braun Breaker for what it's worth. I would be a fan of seeing him win this match. But I just don't know if it's his time. So then we have the actual tournament finals, and we're going to start with Liv Morgan versus Io Sky for the Queen of the Ring tournament. There is, again, not a lot of build to this match, but it's a tournament match, so that's kind of, fair enough. That's how it goes with tournaments. They did have one segment together, and it just ended in a brawl like they usually do. So nothing crazy there. I just think it's pretty clear that Io has to get this win. I'm sure everyone is kind of on the same page. I don't think Liv is going to be a double champion. I don't think that makes a ton of sense. Also, even if, beyond just that, you have Rhea with her knee injury. So for just the sake of the main event scene of the women's division, while Rhea is out with her knee injury, they kind of need Liv to be feuding with someone else. So I think it would make sense for Io to win, and then potentially just challenge her again, say, I beat you once, I'm going to beat you again. I feel comfortable in that matchup, just to give Rhea as much time as possible to kind of rehab that knee. So yeah, my official prediction is Io Sky going over Liv Morgan. I do think that if she wins, if Rhea is good to go, Io can still win, and that can still make sense because Io can challenge Rhea, and they have the history of their tag team title run, and friends to enemies, that kind of thing. So I think either way, if Io wins, either choice is gonna make sense and be pretty good. So then the King of the Ring finals. I feel like this is the main event of Night of Champions. I know there's an undisputed title match, so I put that last, but I feel like it's Night of Champions, Queen of the Ring, and King of the Ring should be the main focus. So I would like to see those matches kind of end the night. I think they could open with the undisputed title. They've been doing that. They opened a SmackDown with the undisputed championship, so anything's on the table. Actually, now I'm thinking about it, I think that makes most sense. They start with the title, the undisputed title, then go US, Queen, King, or maybe US title, steel cage match, US title, Queen, King of the Ring, something like that. But anyway, so Jey Uso versus Oba Femi for the King of the Ring finals. They did it kind of in a similar way to the Queen of the Ring. It's just a mirror of each other where they had one in-ring segment together before the match. Again, unless something happened on SmackDown. But I doubt that they had any of these storylines on SmackDown, considering this match, unless Brock Lesnar really is not going to retire in his home state at SummerSlam, which, I mean, I think that is the most likely thing, but if that's really not going to happen, unless that really isn't going to happen, I should say, Jay has to win this match. He's going to win this match against Oba, and I don't think anybody's going to like it. I don't like it, but I think they're doing Oba versus Brock at SummerSlam retirement match. That just makes too much sense not to be the case, and if that's the case, then Oba can't be winning this match, because then he would have to challenge either Cody or Roman. And this Oba's entire tournament run has kind of baffled me. I just think it doesn't make a ton of sense. So they start the King of the Ring with Fatal 4-Ways, which is perfect, and then even they double down on it. Oba Femi walks in. This was like a month ago at this point. He walks into the Fatal 4-Way during his entrance, and he is like limping and like holding his shoulder, like he's like selling that he's injured after, the taking 7 F5s at Clash in Italy. So, I mean, it makes a ton of sense. So he's going into a Fatal 4-Way selling being injured from a previous match, and he still, destroys everybody and wins the match. So I didn't like that. Well, not that I didn't like it. I think it's big for Oba. But I just where are you going with this? Because the whole time, the pin has to drop, that he's gotta go fight Brock in my head. That's what every time I'm watching his matches, I'm just thinking about Brock Lesnar. So he wins the Fatal 4-Way while injured, which is crazy. He then moves on against Dom. Dirty Dom. Dirty Dom, like someone who could very easily cheat to win the match. And he goes over anyway, and I also thought what they should have done, which would have been, I think, the best way to do it, is on that Raw where Oba is fighting Dom. Because if you do, I mean, they even did it, Oba ate a, ring hammer, 619, his classic, maneuver, and he, kicked out, maybe even at 1, I don't remember. I just remember they've been booking him really strong. I don't remember the exact result, but, even with a cheating Dom, Oba can't get pinned by Dom. He took 7 F5s, it's just, how is Dom, what moves does Dom have? How could Dom cheat? JD hits Oba with a chair and he no-sells it. There's nothing they could have done for Dom to pin Oba, in my opinion. So, what I thought they should have done was have Brock come in, and then you can't attack Oba, because then Oba would win by disqualification. So you have Brock come into the ring and just F5 Dom. And now Oba's disqualified and he loses the match, and then nothing has to happen to Oba at all. Which I think that would have been the best kind of way to do it. A little bit of a strategy wrinkle from Brock there, screwing him over, but Oba doesn't have to take any sort of actual loss of aura, I guess. But no, he goes over on Dom, and now he's in this final against Jay, and the word on the street is that Brock is not going all the way to Saudi Arabia. And I mean, fair enough, that's not really his style to go all the way out there just to run an interference kind of spot. Obviously, Jay has the entire bloodline. They could do Roman screws over Oba to kind of keep that heat going. But I just feel like Oba's gonna get pinned, even with outside interference. It's a PLE match. It can't just end in some sort of disqualification. The bloodline's gonna do something, and Oba's gonna get pinned, I think, is how it's gonna end. And Jay pinning Oba is just a bad luck. It's just a bad luck. I don't think they should have done it. I mean, I'm saying that they haven't done it yet, so who knows? But if that happens, I feel like there was ways they could have avoided this. But yeah, so my official prediction is that Jey Uso is going to win the King of the Ring tournament over Oba Femi. And then obviously he will go on to challenge Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam and very likely lose that match. So, I mean, what's the point of it? Anyway, final match of the night, of the afternoon, I should say. Speaking of, okay, I still got some time. It is Cody Rhodes versus Gunther versus Sami Zayn in a triple threat match for the undisputed WWE Championship. This has been another pretty long story. It's a pretty ongoing story. Ever since Gunther was traded to SmackDown for Jacob Fatu, he's kind of been, him and Cody have kind of been going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It started with the clash in Italy, the whole signing the contract. He was kind of making it a thing that he wasn't going to sign the contract for whatever reason. And then they have their match at Clash in Italy, and there was the ref kind of controversy. And then after Clash in Italy, Sami starts getting involved. You know, or maybe it was... Actually, I think it was before Clash in Italy. Sami was already involved because I think it was before Clash in Italy where Gunther is putting Cody in the sleeper and Sami just walks away. And then you have that one SmackDown where they're all brawling and then Cody like dives out onto Sami because Gunther like pushed Sami in the way or something like that. And then so Sami's just been beefing with Cody for a couple weeks now, and Gunther, ever since he's been on SmackDown, has been going after the title. And then it culminates in the guest referee match where... Okay, so I took notes for that SmackDown last week, but I did not record a video. I did not end up making it. But really quick, if you'll indulge me, that guest referee match was pretty weird. It was pretty annoying because they ran back the same exact Clash in Italy spot where Gunther's legs go under the rope and Sami sees it. And then Cody like crashes out at Sami in the middle of the match. Gunther's like behind him and he's yelling at Sami over the exact thing that happened at Clash in Italy, which Cody gave Gunther the rematch because of that spot, and they ran the spot again, and this time Cody is mad at Sami, so it really didn't make a lot of sense. But sorry. So in that match, you have Sami getting powerbombed by Gunther and doing the quick count because he's mad. And then they run the run back the same night, and Sami just interferes and attacks Gunther. So now triple threat. We have to do a triple threat. Being that it's a triple threat, it could maybe let some doubt creep in your mind, but there's just no way Cody is gonna retain. I'm fairly confident in that. You might point to like Sami having like a home crowd in Saudi, even though it's not really a home crowd. I believe he's Canadian, but yeah, people say that Sami is gonna win if it's taking in Saudi Arabia, but that didn't work out for him at the Royal Rumble against Drew McIntyre. He got destroyed by Drew McIntyre at the Royal Rumble, so I don't really believe in that Sami thing. But yeah, I think Cody is just booked too strong. I just think he's gonna win this match. I don't think there's anything Gunther and Sami Zayn can do to stop him from winning this match. And then he's gonna go on to feud with Jay. And I think him feuding with Jay makes the most sense just because Cody and the bloodline, Cody and the bloodline have history, so I think it makes the most sense for Cody to win anyway, if Jay is also gonna win. So those are all of my predictions. If you noticed, I did pick all faces. I picked all faces, which I am not confident in. I usually do not pick all faces. I like to sprinkle a heel in there. And I think if I were to add a heel to my predictions, it would be Jade. I think Jade is the most likely heel to win her match. But yeah, it's also tough because Oba and Jay are both faces, so what are you gonna do? I would say that Jay is more of a heel than Oba, just from not the in-person crowd, but the online crowd. So I guess maybe that's picking a heel or picking something that the fans don't want to see as much. But yeah, those are my predictions for this show that's taking place in an hour, so I have to get going. I'm not sure it makes sense now. I was behind this week. I wanted to start my channel this week, and I got a little bit behind with the videos because I had some technical difficulties earlier in the week. So I have the notes for an NXT review, so I might just say, fuck it, and record it anyway and post it. But I don't know, it's probably not worth it to do. I did Raw like 4 days late, and I'm going to do NXT, which is even less of a followed show than Raw 4 days late. Doesn't really seem to make sense. I don't know if I have time. I have to catch up on SmackDown and Night of Champions. Obviously, I'm not going to watch SmackDown before Night of Champions because it is 11 a.m., so Night of Champions is about to happen. I might just combine it, do like a super quick, only hit the super highlights of SmackDown at the very beginning of my Night of Champions review. That's probably what I'm going to do. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for spending some of your time with me. I hope that your favorite wrestler wins today. Yeah, so Night of Champions review will be going up, and we'll go over the predictions and see how it goes.